at work. Shout out to Tune. Yeah, the Bridging the Gap show, we just trying to bridge the gap between many different walks of life. I got my guy, Kayvon. Let you introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? This is Kayvon. We at the Bridging the Gap show. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some serious stuff today.
Yeah, so we got some special guests on here, live via Zoom. I'm going to let them introduce themselves real quick, and then we'll go back to the topic at hand. You can go first, Willie.
Hey everybody, my name is Willie Knight, and I work here in the community with the population of those returning from incarceration. I'm a mentor for at-risk youth and also work behavioral health.
That's what's up.
I'm glad to be here.
Katie.
Hello, I'm Katie Crosby. I am the Chief of Staff for the Mayor's Office, Mayor Capsicavage, and I've been here a little under 3 years, originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and before coming here, I lived in Dayton, Ohio, and I've always been involved with community work.
That's what's up. The topic right here today, we want to talk about a few things, one being the Cure Violence Initiative, and the other being mental health and how it affects community, like as far as violence and reentry and all these different things. And it becoming very relevant to our community right now. A lot of situations that happen revolving around mental health, and we got a spike of violence that, actually violence might be, is violence down now? Have it been decreasing?
In all categories except for gun violence.
Okay, see, I figured that too. So, so could you tell us a little bit about the Cure Violence?
Sure. So Cure Violence is a gun violence reduction initiative out of Chicago, Illinois. And it's been used across the country to help reduce violence. And it has a three-pronged approach, and it's really a public health model. So if you think about what's happening with COVID, with the COVID virus, that's a distraction, David. If you think about what's happening with the COVID virus, when they talk about, the being in close proximity of people and how easy it is to contract the virus and how the virus spread, how quickly the virus spread. If you think about gun violence as a public health model, when you have someone that has been introduced to violence at a young age, that violence becomes trauma, and that trauma predisposes them or makes them a higher risk to being involved with violence when they become an adult or as they get older. And so what the Cure Violence program really looks at is what are the root causes of violence and how do you stop it at the root cause? And so what we know is that unless we look at social determinants, so looking at the what's happening in the community, what type of investment you're making in the community, what are people learning and what are their experiences, then we need to do that work to deter violence and then stop the spread of it. So it's a public health model, and what we're going to be focusing on is using data to help us determine where violence is happening, and based on that, working with high-risk individuals or individuals who have a higher likelihood of being exposed to violence because their communities have a higher level of violence, engaging that community around anti-violence messaging, programming, including youth programming, also looking at community investments. So that's looking at blight reduction, looking at lighting, looking at addressing housing, looking at what type of things we can do with vacant properties to help reduce violence in those neighborhoods, and then also engage people, get them connected to resources, if we can get them connected to jobs and training programs, all of those things that will help change the trajectory or the direction of their lives so that they are less likely to be engaged in violence.
That's what's up. So I checked out a video that was on YouTube about the Cure Initiative. Actually, I just kind of searched violence interrupter, and something in the Cure Violence in Chicago popped up, and the guy on there, he had a different approach, where he would continuously go in the community and interact. His was more so positive interaction constantly, constantly being there for them to keep them from ever tricking themselves out the situation. What frame do you have right now as far as what approach you want, or is that going to be up to the person who you
So so part of Cure Violence model is also having what are called violence interrupters. So when we had the model in Dayton, we call them street advocates. And so those are individuals that have credibility in the community. They've been exposed or involved with violent activity themselves, but they have the ability to help people change their lives because they've already had that experience. And so what they do is they go in and they help get people connected to resources. They talk to folks. They help to de-escalate situations. If there is an incident, say for instance, there's a shooting and the family is at the hospital, if there's an opportunity to interact with the family to reduce the likelihood of retaliation, that will be their role in the community. So those are called violence interrupters, and those would be those same individuals that would be helping with those positive messages in the community. And the goal would be for them to work with community case managers or case workers to connect them to resources. So that could be, say for instance, if they need to be connected to mental health services, if they need to be connected to job training programs, workforce development programs, being able to help folks navigate a system that can be really frustrating. If there's a way to break down some of those barriers so that they can get access to services quicker, we're trying to develop a system to allow for that.
Okay, so Kayvon, you being, young and, just recently got yourself on a straight path, like, what do you think it takes for something like that to work?
For the right person, like, I think that'll take the right person to actually interact with everybody and get along with everybody. And like you said, the dude was constantly in his neighborhoods that he was working with, building relationships and just like showing that he was really there, willing to help. And I think that's really all it'll take for real, and the person to really be like wanting to see somebody change and willing to introduce them to different things and show them different stuff.
Do you think somebody who like don't have a criminal background? Do you think someone without a criminal background could do that?
It's a possibility. It depends on like what they can relate to. A lot of times people look for something they can relate to in a person, and that's just in every category of life. That's
crazy you say that, because that's what happened with me. I found somebody and they showed me how to associate changing my life, and it worked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what's up. Well, we got Willie. That he not on for that topic, but what do you think, Willie?
You're on mute, Willie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I agree with them both. Relatability is definitely needed. These youngsters nowadays, we live in a society where long ago the day of acting, when you get on a television show, you have to go and be an actor or actresses. Now all you have to do is just share a post and you're liable to go viral and you're relevant. That's a key word with our younger people right now, relevant. When you introduce yourself, hey, I'm so-and-so, and they say, who? Oh, that make them feel real small. But when you say, I'm so-and-so, and they say, okay, I felt you, I know about you. They come around you more, and they want to be more like you, and that's just how it is. Just look at the rappers. We have a lot of hip hop artists in Toledo, but you have a few people who are really, really doing it. When you say their name, first thing out their mouth is they get to it. They eating it. They're official. So it definitely takes a relatability to open the door to get these young men and women to listen.
Well, Kayvon, what honestly, and just be honest, you in a situation and you're in a situation where you feel like a situation could you say per se you retaliating or something. Mm-hmm. Somebody do something to you and you retaliate. What would it take for somebody to talk you out of it, or is it even possible? Be real.
I can't say it's always possible, but it might be a chance that it's possible, because that person might say something to you that help you click in your head, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm tripping right now. I need to chill out. At least think it out. And sometimes a lot of us don't think before we do something. So if you in my ear telling me something, even if I don't want to hear it, I might acknowledge what you're saying, and that might help me. That's one step closer to preventing.
That's real. That might be. It might register at another time. It might register at the right time. But you know what I'm saying? I feel what you're saying. Yep. Yeah. Well, I love that idea. We actually had something very similar in our minds of wanting to formulate something like that. And when you came with it, I was like, I think that's going to be successful. But we have to, we have to arm ourselves with the tools to make it successful. As community, community don't know how much we all have to become a village and stand behind something like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
and I would just say, I've worked with this program before. It's difficult because there's so much hurt in our community. There's so much hurt in our community and so much work that we need to do in our communities in terms of investment in our neighborhoods. There's a lot of pain. I mean, one of the things that we noticed from the pandemic is that we saw an uptick in violence, not just in Toledo, but all across the country saw an uptick in violence because people are frustrated. They're frustrated because they're having issues with their jobs. There's no recreational activities because we have to socially distance. And so you have all of that built up frustration and there's nowhere to put it. There's no outlet for it. You have kids that, one of the things that we notice is that we have young people who are engaging in violent activity that, those numbers went up in terms or the age of young people engaging. They were younger than what we had been noticing in the past, and that's because school's out, so you're not having sports and other outlets. So it's going to be a challenge, but it's something that we're committed to. I also think the other thing that the young man talked about is very important, that we have people that are relatable. It's very important that we have people that folks can trust, and that this is not an extension of law enforcement. This is a program that is really about how do we help people change their lives? How do we get them access to resources? And one of the things that I used to tell the guys, that the violence interrupters that we worked with in Dayton, is that it's also, if you have a relationship with a person, it's also your responsibility to advocate for them, because oftentimes people see the record and they don't see the person. Right. They see the record and they don't see the reason why the person is engaged in the lifestyle that they're in. So it's also our responsibility to have people that can articulate why or what has happened in this person's life that took them down this track, and what intervention is needed to redirect them. And so that's the other thing that, at least for me, that I'm really passionate about with these types of programs, is making sure that we have people that can give voice to a person's life and what leads them down a path of violence.
Yeah. It's going to be definitely a difficult task, but I feel like, like I said, it's very doable, and a lot of people in the community are already doing this divided. You know what I'm saying? So having a person who can bring it all together is just like, an angel in disguise, for real. Like, like I said, people doing that work already. Willie doing that work already. Even Kayvon, like being around him, I see him consistently keeping in contact with people who he was locked up with and making sure they staying on a straight path and making sure they thinking about what they're going to do when they get out. Like, all that's prevention. Prevention got so many different faces, so many different hats. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited about that. I hope everything work out with that. Well, I know it will.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. Me too. It's definitely something that's needed.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on here too and talking about it, because it's a big thing. I just want everybody to be ready for it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes timing is everything, and right now, like the climate of losing youth, I feel like when we all got something in common, like we all tired of losing babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not just babies, people in general. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we all know we want to do something about it. So if we all do a little, everybody don't have to do. You know what I mean? We all do a little. It's a lot.
It's a joint effort. It's that village. It takes a village. And, we, back in the day, you had that community. You walk out the house. Willie, you still on mute. I see you talking. But you walk out the house and you know that your baby is going to be okay, because the neighbor is going to make sure that the baby is okay. But we've lost this sense of community, and we lost that village mentality that we need to get back.
Yeah, like we did the Hill events over the last couple months before the weather got changed. And I told people, it's not about you coming out to the Hill event to experience it. It's about you bringing your kids there and them meeting 40 people who care if they live or die. You know what I mean? It's about that interaction. I'm gonna meet somebody. When your kid ain't out here alone, I'm gonna see your kid and I'm gonna snatch him up like, hey, you tripping. You misrepresenting your people. You know what I mean? And if we don't do that, we'll always be alone. You know what I'm saying? We'll make decisions. I'm not gonna let him trick himself off the streets. I'm not gonna let nobody. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, look, I'm gonna give you the same thing that I would want my people to get. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we ain't doing that. We watching it. We pulling out our phones and recording it. You know what I'm saying? That all got to stop. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some mentality change. That's what dude said on the video I watched about the cure violence. He said violence is an illness, and he said we got to change it through the mind. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I felt that.
Yeah.
So that being a segue, we gonna get into the field of what Willie does. I'm gonna let him tell more about what you got going on as far as mental health.
Okay, when I was released from prison, I started to go back in the same institutions that I lived in. And I did that for a few years until I was approached and somebody told me about obtaining a CDCA, which is a chemical dependency counselor's assistant. And I could help those that are living with behavioral health issues. And a lot of the gentlemen that I did time with and came home, I realized they had underlying or undiagnosed mental health and addiction or both. And I realized that if you were treated for your mental health and if you didn't have addiction problem, you probably wouldn't have made it to prison. And so that's how I get in the field of behavioral health. And with my agency, I'm a little different because I really have a passion for all, but those coming out of incarceration, they have that third stigma, which is a felony, and that lasts for a long time. You know, in Ohio, we have so many laws now where you can get a lot of felonies erased or sealed. And so with my case management, I do a lot of mentoring. You know, like you said, I speak the language. I know the barriers that they're up against. You know, it's something, and every single person is a different situation. You can't handle all cases the same. His depression is different from his depression. His PTSD is different from his PTSD, and things like that. So I'm just in the community, man, and I'm trying to utilize all my resources and at the same time thinking outside the box to change one life, and he can go back to his community, his hood, and change others. So I have a lot of young guys who you could consider steppers. You know, these little young boys at one time, all they did was drill. And now they're working. Now they have financial literacy. Now they have their driver's license. Now they're going different places, experiencing different things. And it's working. So that's just a little bit of what I do here.
That's a lot. What you mean a little bit? That's a lot, man. That's everything. That's what we need. I just was talking to someone and they said a first responder told them that 80% of the calls they get are mental health related. Like that's wild. That's wild to me. Like, you know what I mean? Do you think that's results to people being undiagnosed, or do you think it's just that prevalent in the community?
Undiagnosed, untreated, you know, taking meds, you don't really want nobody to know. It's just a lot of things. It comes from a lot of trauma, childhood trauma. You know, back in the day, you know, we're raised by two parents. And the majority of those that I work with, when I was going into prisons, I would ask them by a show of hands, how many of y'all was raised by a single parent? And it was 85 to 90%. And I did that for 4 years. You know, I'm like, wow, that has a lot to do with it. Then you have the mother trying to be the nurturer, the protector, the disciplinarian, and then go to work too with 4 kids. So now you have a young guy raising himself in the streets. You know, it's just a lot of things. And drugs definitely don't help. Right now, we have a whole side of town that love K2.
So hold on.
You know,
I want don't go to drugs yet, because I wanna give some time to open up people to ask some questions before we go to drugs, and I'm gonna give Katie some time to step out. I know she got a busy schedule ahead of her, and thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you. If you ever need our help, we got you at the Bridging the Gap show. We there for you, for whatever you need.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, thanks, David. Anytime. I'll talk to you soon, Willie.
All right, Katie, have a good one.
What's the phone number for them to call in? You know about her?
419, what's on your mind? Give us a call at 419-540-3566. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, call in. The reason why I stopped you is because when it comes to that conversation about drug abuse, self-medicating, I feel like just strongly, and I want you to really think about this, Kayvon, because I want to hear your opinion. But a lot of these young guys who committing these crimes, murders, shootings and drive-by shootings, all these things, they're directly affected by trauma, right? You killed my dude. I don't know how to handle this bottled up anger, but let's stop there. I need something to get me enough courage to do this. A lot of these guys are under the influence when they committing these crimes, and that's not part of the conversation.
Absolutely. I never did a drive-by sober.
I'm sure no one has. I bet. I would just bet that no one has. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
And this is the thing. So others are they have the opportunity to get drug treatment, right? But I've yet to hear. Definitely. I have yet to hear someone in the process of being booked for attempted murder getting drug treatment, or someone who committed a crime getting treated as a drug patient is not as much as the criminal. You know what I mean? That I feel like that conversation.
Well, I believe it's just the opposite right now, Dave. Right now, this thing called ATI, Alternative to Incarceration, and the state of Ohio is leading the nation in reentry and alternatives to incarceration. So now you can have a young guy who got caught with a couple of bags of chine. He's a straight trapper. But because there's only a couple of bags, it falls under the abuse. Mm-hmm. Now with that abuse charge, he can go to CTF and get treatment, although he's not an addict.
Right.
So it's a lot of them that it's more getting treatment than not. But like the attempted murderers, you have to wait till the legalities play out.
Right.
If he's found not guilty, but if he's attempted murder, that's prison time. And then there you probably can get help eventually, but there's a lot of help. That's why a lot of these behavioral health agencies are popping up.
Mm.
There's a lot of them popping up.
Yeah, I think CTF that's the only opportunity though. Like if you ain't make CTF, then you going to prison. If you got anything to do with drugs, and that's the only way you can go there. You can't go there with like a violent crime for real.
Kayvon, you think
now you could come home.
Do you think the majority
come home from CTF with violent crime?
Do you think the majority of the shooters and people who who like the most active, shooters, aren't they usually the drug addict? You know what I mean? The one who popped the most beans, the one who be off the most perks. You know what I'm saying? That's usually that person. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's normally the person. That's usually. I feel like a lot of the times that people do something, it's not even for the purpose of what. I don't know. I don't know. I seen a lot of reasons of why people did some dumb stuff. And 9 times out of 10, it's not even retaliation. It's just something along the lines of a disagreement somewhere, or just doing it just to do it for some type of look, or I don't know. I don't understand some.
But imagine,
I don't know.
But imagine this though. You are a lot of us are already undiagnosed with mental health conditions, on top of the drugs. You might be taking a drug to trigger something in your mental health issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this information ain't out there. So, and we got the Human Relations Commission and myself and a couple other partners. We coming up with we gonna have a forum conversation. Willie Knight and his people gonna be on there. We're gonna have this discussion called triggers. You know what I'm saying? We want to put out there some triggers that people may or may not know about. Like, example, myself, I learned so much about myself to where I have abandonment issues. So most of the time, if I act out with anger or close to violence, it's because someone triggered me through my abandonment issues. You know what I'm saying? So me learning that, I learned to prepare what to walk away from. You know what I mean? And I feel like we get that information out there, we gonna change some lives. And what do you think, Willie?
I agree, 110%. Absolutely, I definitely agree.
What do you say to somebody going through something like that? Like, what do you say like to somebody who just got out, and what's the warnings and what's the advice you give? And I want to hear from you too. Okay.
I asked them, have you set any goals while you were incarcerated? And what does a good day look like? What are your barriers right now? And a lot of different answers. And so then I would show them how to overcome those barriers. But first, they got to believe in themselves. And two, they got to want it harder than I want it. See what I'm saying? I'm not going to work harder than you for you to get on your feet. And you'll be surprised, man. Nobody wants to go back to prison. Everybody wants that pat on the head like, we proud of you. We all do. Some just don't know how to go about getting it. You have a lot of kids right now that you walk in the mall with them, they open the door and walk in. Be like, dang, there go a lady behind you. It ain't like they disrespectful. Nobody ever taught them that you hold the door for your elders. Nobody ever taught them that. We live in a different culture, a different way that we have to interact with them. I do it through music. I love local artists. The first thing I ask my guys when they get in the car is who you listen to, who hot right now. And from there, open up a door to conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Pooh Shiesty hot right now.
Yeah. What you say, Kayvon? What you say?
You spoke on the triggers. I think the best way for it to be beneficial to people in the community is probably helping them identify them triggers, because a lot of times people don't know you can identify yours. You can say, I got abandonment issues, and have your reasons behind it or why you feel some type of way when you're in that situation. A lot of times people don't understand, because we so used to bottling our emotions, especially us as men, we don't acknowledge too much of what's going on because we don't want to feel hurt. We don't want to, and then we don't want to display that either. So we don't acknowledge it enough. So if you can help somebody, but that take them, like he said, to work with you. Like they gotta be able to explain what they going through. That way you can see the problem and help them.
Mm-hmm. So communication is a big barrier in that situation.
Yeah.
See that? That's useful information. I mean, that may not have been in my approach. You know what I'm saying? But communication is big. You know what I mean? And keeping that like how I see you communicate with people all the time. Like you talk to them dudes pretty much every day, huh?
I talk to a lot of them.
I know. I noticed that. Every time I'm around him, he checking on. I'm talking about 10 people per hour. Like this dude really be talking to him, and that's something that's my weak point. I don't communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? I don't keep in touch with people, check on them and all that. You know what I'm saying? But everybody got their strong points. You know what I'm saying? And that communication is it. That's it. So I feel like that's something even that violence interrupter gonna have to have on under their belt. Just keeping that communication line open. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know when it's gonna happen.
Right.
You never know when the trigger gonna happen. You never know when life is gonna be feeling too short. Like, you know what I mean? Life is gonna be feeling like something you can let go. You know what I mean? So I can't wait till we get that popping off, because I really want to get that information out there. Even so, as far as things like holidays, people who go through a certain level of depression, holidays are the worst time of the year for them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So,
a lot of people.
The crime increase and everything, and people think it's because people broke. No, it's because people depressed. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's going to be a nice little forum and conversation. The date, dang, I forget the date. I'm so sorry. I forgot the date, y'all. But I'm going to make sure that I post that date when we get off of this. So, yeah, we about to wrap up a little bit. Y'all got any shout-outs for anybody?
No, I got no shout-outs.
The whole community.
Yeah.
The whole community, there's a lot of hope still out here. We just have to know where it's at. We just have to have the information available. Yeah. There's a lot of hope, man. Toledo is growing. There's a lot of opportunities for these young men to get off the streets, to find good, solid careers. I just talked to one of my guys I did time with. He called me maybe 40 minutes ago. He said, I'm making $18.50 an hour making dog treats. You hear me?
Yeah.
He said they pay me to make dog treats, and I love it. And it's things like that, man. I mean, it's real out here. There's a future. We can live anywhere we want, go anywhere we want, drive whatever we want. We just got to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, I want to shout out the Junction Coalition. I want to shout out the Toledo Arts Commission and the HRC in the city of Toledo, especially for that artist initiative that just happened. We just got done. I believe 160 artists have received COVID compensation, and that was real big for the city to acknowledge the importance of artists. You know what I mean? I thought that was big. Like, and people need to keep in touch. You know, with the Art Commission website, it's all types of opportunities for artists. And myself being an artist, I approach the leadership role from an artist perspective. So artists, you know, y'all got to step up and shine like you do. You know, and all these mental health agencies, all these different agencies need a creative approach. You know what I mean? So you never know where you might fit in. You know, what's up with your rapping career? What's going down? You ain't got no news yet? None yet?
Nah.
Okay, y'all stay looking out for Vaughn. I mean, my bad, Vaughn. We gonna be right back.
Artist.
Yeah, he got some bars, man. I can't get him to do it on the show.
I like to hear some of his music.
Oh yeah, it's coming. We got some big things going on. We building we got a place 419 Junction. It's gonna be a community outlet, and it's gonna have everything that you need to flourish in the community. Everything gonna be there, from studios to workspaces, and you could just come there and be successful. You know what I mean? That's coming. So the studio section and podcast section and all that's coming too. You know what I mean? We're gonna keep rocking out with 419 grind, but yeah, that's coming. It's coming because it's all important. You know, what it is a lot of walks of life don't tell their own narrative. And we don't want no one telling our narrative but us. So that's why it's important to support places like 419 Grind and what we about to build, because we need to tell our own narrative so we can't get cut out the picture, we can't get cut out the story. You know what I mean? People like Kayvon and people like you and all y'all, whatever y'all do in whatever capacity, it's important. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't tell a narrative, the world won't know, you know?
That's right. I agree.
Thank you for coming, bro. Anytime you want to, when you see a topic and you like, man, I want to step on that, all you got to do is say less. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Bridging the gap. You got anything to say?
No, I'm good.
What's up, man? This boy been quiet. He's sleepy. This dude be normally in the show talking. He's sleepy today. It's cool. All right, y'all. Y'all stay tuned. Bridging the gap. We're going to be coming on a bi-weekly basis with different topics, bridging the gap in the community. Shout out.
For sure. Y'all young brothers, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Proud of y'all. Keep up the great work.
Appreciate it. I'm almost old, though, bro. I'm almost old. K-Ryan, though.